I'm pretty much waiting for them to get my bills ready and everything. So I always make my coffee with just the coffee and creamer, no sugar, because you know that white sugar is bad for you. So I try to just lessen sugar in my diet as much as possible. But this video today, I want it to be about how many miles can a person drive in order to be local. Reason I thought about this video, because when I was over the road with Prime and USA, obviously I was new to the game, so I didn't know nothing about nothing. And obviously one of my goals was to be local instead of always being over the road. So I was like, man, how many miles should I be able to drive to be local when I really get my own trucks and this and that, so that way I can still run my business but be able to be local. So over the time, I got my experience, I learned, the game. I don't know it all the way, but I know enough to be sufficient. I realized that in order to be local, how many miles to drive is variable. Variable meaning there's really no fixed set of whatever that can really just say this is how it is. All I can say, there's a minimum and there's a maximum. Now, if you do the minimum, you guarantee for the most part to be able to run that without any hiccups. Like, you'll have enough time to where you can offset with any variable that might come into play. But the only difference is, of course, the less miles you run, the less you get paid. So you want to try to maximize your profits and your money with having, a longer trip. But at the same time, even that don't always guarantee maximize rates on loads. So let me give you the spill. The minimum amount of miles to run and it still be pretty lucrative, I would have to say the lowest that I ran to where it wasn't super super but it wasn't bad either. I'd say from 200 miles total round trip, and the maximum is 650. The maximum is 650 miles. But 650 miles is really pushing it, because if you do 600, most people with an average 4 o'clock, you got your whole 14 hours on duty, you got your whole 11-hour drive time, the weather's perfect, the truck don't break down, the shipper or receiver don't hold you up, everything is running so smooth. And then also too, you have to consider, what is your truck governed to? Because every truck, well, just about every truck, especially if you work for a company or you leased on with a company, and sometimes even contracted on with a company. The difference between leased on and contracted with a company, contractors might have financed their truck, or they might even own their truck, where if you leased on, then most likely that truck is a lease. So if it's a lease, most likely you are governed, unless you took it upon yourself, like I did, to take your truck to a mechanic and get him to open you up. But governors can go from any range. So that's another variable. Sure, some people trucks are governed to 60 miles an hour. Some people trucks are governed from 62. Then some people trucks governed from 65. Like this guy I'm working for, his truck is governed to 68. Shoot, Saddle Creek, their trucks is governed to 70. So that's the way your truck is governed to 70 miles per hour, where the average speed limit is 70 miles per hour. That's the average speed limit. And if you're able to do 70 miles per hour for most of your trip, you can turn an average of 600 to 650 miles a day with good traffic, good weather, receivers and shippers, process you in and out on time and this and that. But even at that, that you have 11 hours of drive time. So the drive time is the main thing you worry about. But you have a 3-hour window to mess around with. So you got 3 hours to mess around with traffic, 3 hours to mess around if the shipper or receiver screw you over. So you got to really make those 3 hours count where they need to, so that you can turn that full 600 to 650 miles that day and get home. But I would just have to say, to keep it on the safe side and still be pretty, profitable, whether you're a company driver or owner-op and you want to be home every day or just about every day, really every day with this, just do 400 miles. 400 miles usually is an average of 8 hours. If you do the 650, that's your full clock. You gonna ride that whole 11-hour drive time out, and you might almost go over it. You really got to manage doing 600 to 650. But if you do like 400 miles, so 400 miles, even like 450, you can do like 225 miles or 200 and something miles, and you're guaranteed to be home because you'll still, let me see, if 400 miles is 8 hours, so 8, 9, 10, 11, you got an average of 6 hours to play with. Not only do you got the 3 hours of your on duty time, now you got 3 hours of drive time, and those combined together gives you 6 hours to play around with traffic, weather, shippers and receivers, or whatever. So you got to really think about everything. Because when you put just driving and getting a load there, you have so much stuff you have to think about. That's why trip planning is so crucial, because if you don't trip plan right, time is money, and you can truly waste your time to where you're going to be pissed off, you're going to lose money. You know, to keep your wheels rolling is the ideal way, but you don't just keep them rolling in a foolish fashion. First of all, you need to make sure you get loads that is paying decent enough to cover your fuel, to cover maintenance, if you got employees, to cover paying for employees. Like, you got to factor all those numbers into what you would accept a rate on a load for. You know, because there's a lot of loads that can have those miles, but they pay crap. Like, they pay below $1 a mile. Like, if you making $1 or under $1 a mile, you fucking yourself, because you're responsible for all the stuff that come with running your trucking business. So even rates are pretty much variable, because like I said, things go up and down. Fuel prices go up and down. Your truck payment don't change. Then if your truck paid for it, you probably don't need a lot. So that's why you're really supposed to calculate. You're supposed to calculate how much you need for that day, or for the week, or for the month. So that way you know how much you need to run for, what you'll accept. But I feel like an average low ball load that is kind of acceptable, that you would settle for, is $1.50. And really, that just depends. Everybody got their own opinion of what is acceptable. But in my opinion, for what I would accept lowballing it, if I can't make $1.50 a mile as an owner operator or lease on contract or whatever, I need $1.50 on up. If I can't get $1.50 on up, then I don't want it, because I mean, I'm fucking myself. I'm losing money. And you can definitely lose money if you keep selling for under $1.50, and especially if you selling for $1 and under $1, you fucking yourself royally. So don't do that. But I'm a company driver now, so I don't have to worry about rates. That's the owner op guy I'm working for. That's his responsibility, because I get paid cents per mile. But if you're really into the owner op stuff, you got to think about all of that. So like I said, there's variables when it comes to getting on the road and performing your trip. You got to consider the weather. Is it going to be rainy? Is it going to be snowy? Is it going to slow things down to where accidents happen, and now you stuck in bumper to bumper traffic because somebody done rolled over and hit each other, and now traffic is at a standstill. So now your clock is ticking down to where you could possibly run out of time. And every company don't have personal conveyance. Personal conveyance, and I'm sure all drivers don't know about this because every company don't have it. Personal conveyance is where they call it PC. PC is when you're bobtailing or you're not under a load, period, and you just on your personal time. You drive your truck mainly for owner op. Like, this is not for company drivers. Some companies will let company drivers have it, but they might only get 25 miles or 50 miles to drive, and then that's it. They back on their regular drive time. But if you are owner op, most likely you get unlimited miles with your personal conveyance. So your personal conveyance for your personal drive time. Like, if it's your truck and you just want to be driving around for the rest of the day because you don't have no loads under you, you can use your PC, your personal conveyance. So like I said, you got the weather, you got, like I said, the traffic. And like I said, traffic can happen, especially depending on what state you're driving through. And it ain't got to have nothing to do with weather. Like, you could be driving through damn Atlanta, Georgia. If you go into Atlanta, Georgia, consider that traffic for the certain times of day you're driving. If you got to drive through New York, consider the traffic. If you got to drive through the DMV, consider the traffic. You got to drive through Chi-Town, Chicago, consider the traffic. If you got to drive through Texas, Houston, consider the traffic. I'm trying to tell you guys, man, some of these states is terrible for traffic. Lord knows. But you know what? I realized that a lot of traffic times is from 11 in the afternoon to like probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then from like 4 o'clock in the afternoon to about about 7 o'clock in the afternoon. Those are the major rush hours that catch people. The afternoon and the evenings, those catch people. And then you got to consider shutdown times. Like, okay, if I know I got to run 400 miles a day and my trip, it starts at 7 o'clock, where would that put me at? When should I do my 30-minute break and all that stuff? So if I start at 7 o'clock and 400 miles takes 8 hours, usually you have to do a 30-minute break within your 8 hours. So since that trip only takes 8 hours, I don't really have to worry about scheduling my 30-minute break because I can make that a turn within my 8 hours. Probably would be safe for me to do my 30-minute break. And the way you do that is, first of all, you plan where you're going to fuel if you need fuel. If you can't get fuel at your terminal, you plan where you're going to stop for fuel or DEF. And then you take it on in. And for the most part, the best practices, especially if you're going to get good MPGs on your truck, don't do frequent stops. Like, if you're doing a simple trip that's only 400 miles round trip, 400 miles is 200 miles each way. Drive that whole 200 miles there. When you get to the shipper or receiver, do your 30-minute break there. And most likely you're going to do your 30-minute break anyway, because it's probably going to take you 30 minutes just to get the paperwork, unhook, get checked out, checked in, do your depart, do your arrivals. That's 30 minutes right there. So once you get to the ship or receiver, your 30 minutes done, then you get back on the road and you drive the rest of that 200 miles straight back. Don't be stopping, because that can dig into your ELD clocks too. Because these ELD clocks, once you hit on duty, that shit don't stop. That clock's going to keep on ticking until your time run out. So you have to have great time management skills in order for you to make money, be home every day. If you're going to run these short runs, which has these little bit of miles. Like I said, recap. In order for you to be home every day, if you run 400 miles or 400 and something miles, you're guaranteed to be home every day unless you run into some serious catastrophe or your truck break down. But the maximum I would say, but it'll be pushing it, is 600 to 650 miles legally. You can do that in a day, but you gotta really be pushing it. Like, you got to have your truck able to do 70 miles per hour open. Now, if you stuck at 60 miles per hour, you ain't doing no 650. You might do 590, might even do 580, but just 600 miles governed. So I thought I'd share that because, like I said, that was one thing I thought about when I was with Prime and USA, because I had got tired of being over the road, and I did want to plan to still have my lease and everything, but I wanted to get loads in a sense to where they wasn't a lot of miles to where I could turn it and be home every day. So I hope this helps anybody that's just getting into the leasing game, or somebody that's just getting into the owner-op game, and you trying to run for yourself and figure out how to run yourself. Because a lot of guys that's leasing and owner-ops, y'all have access to the load board. So it's up to you to pick these loads to run yourself. And if you have no clue how many miles you need in order to get back or this and that, then it is what it is. But another thing too, like, you have to, in order to be home every day, you have to have a load that's going to and coming back. So if you got a load that's a total of 400 miles, but the whole 400 miles is straight to another state, then you're not going to be home. You need to be with a company that has it to where you go to the place and then the destination is going back to the terminal. So that's another thing to consider too. So all right, guys, I'm sitting here waiting. It's so bad. Like, one thing I like about FedEx, and I guess they know this because we drive doubles, so doubles can be a bit more dangerous. If they know where they're sending you, the weather is like really terrible, they're going to cancel that load and not send you. So I respect that. It sucks because you're losing money. Obviously, if my wheels ain't rolling, I ain't making money. But sometimes it ain't all about money. It's about your safety and your life. So when a company really puts safety, for you, then that's a company I want to be with, because they care about my life. They care about my family. It's not just about the bottom dollar. And some companies don't care about the weather. If they can take a chance to make and push you to get a load there, then they'll do that, because sometimes you can get a load there in bad weather, but most of the times you don't. So good companies that care about their drivers, they don't even take the chance. But some sorry companies will try to push you to get it there, because it's just about getting